Oh, yeah, bud.
Oh, yeah. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are back from Ottawa after day number 3 here at VNL Week 2. My name is Everett Delorme. This is Rob St. Clair.
What's up with it?
It's crazy how adding one more day adds a lot.
Like one more match in the day, you mean?
Yeah, one more. Sorry, that's it. Exactly. Adding one more match on the day. That is. It adds a lot.
It does add a lot. It's also ridiculously hot in here.
It is ridiculously hot in here, and it doesn't help that the legend Gavin Schmidt was feeding me beers in VIP after being named to the Hall of Fame last night. So
shout out Gavin.
Yeah, I'm a little toastier than you right now.
You are, yeah. I'll catch up. I'm still recovering from our drunk stream last night, to be honest.
Yeah.
That one, man, I was in rough shape this
Rob
morning.
was so adamant that we were going to be here for 11 a.m. for the start of Netherlands versus Cuba, and you were still asleep when I got out of the shower this morning.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah.
We had ourselves a day yesterday. We had ourselves a day today.
We did.
Because there were 3 matches today, and the Norseka Volleyball Federation went a fat 0-3.
Norseka got 3 donged today.
3 donged.
Norseka got 3 donged today in 3 bad performances from Norseka teams too. There is not a happy fan. Cristobal is livid right now.
Cristobal is not
Cristobal is not happy, and for good reason.
Cristobal's got a lot of things to be unhappy about, but the performances of the Norseka teams today, we're not happy. You and I aren't happy. Our Cuban friends Hilaire and Ronnie are not happy, but we're going to talk about them all because the teams that beat our respective teams, all 3 of them I thought played awesome. And we will get into that. You want to start this morning?
Yeah, I think we should. Okay, but first and foremost, for those who don't know, the first game in Ottawa on Friday or Thursday and Friday, they do the kids game.
Right.
So you probably can't tell, but there's all these little papers on the chairs around us in the stadium, and they bring in thousands of school-age kids, which I think is amazing.
It's awesome.
The vibe when you get in here is amazing. All of a sudden, Cuba had thousands of little Canadian kids cheering for them. It was incredible. And for these kids to be able to come in at a young age and get this exposure of volleyball, this is something that Volleyball Canada has done well since its inception. I actually met Bianca, the on-court announcer, when her and I helped out where we were doing clinics for kids before the first VNL back in 2018. So they've done this consistently, and the vibe for it was amazing.
It was terrific.
And they got a good match out of it. They got the highest scoring match from a player so far in the VNL with Namir dropping 38.
Sick.
In 4 sets. He was absolutely ridiculous. But on the other side of the net, Cuba needs to figure something out without Robert Landy Simon.
Yeah, uninspired. It was tough from Cuba today. I mean, we got here at the start of the second set where we were watching the score on the way over here when we were watching the game, and Cuba looked good the first set, and then they got it stolen right out from underneath them, 26-24. And I don't know if they really recovered from that. It was kind of just one of those Namir games that he has every once in a while.
It was.
When you have a truly great
really
player
was.
that displays true greatness for one game, and there's nothing that you can do about it when you're that team's opponent. And that's basically that's my summation of what I saw today. Because the play that summarized it was there was a serve that was absolutely going out of bounds.
Yeah.
Namir happened to be in the way of it on the baseline as he moved.
Oh, I got a clip of that actually.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I reposted I think Volleyball Nations League account clipped the broadcast and I shared it, but he basically accidentally passed a ball, a nail, and then ripped an unreal shot down the line, right on the sideline.
Yeah.
And when that sort of stuff is happening for a player of Namir's caliber, you're probably just gonna lose.
Bro, he even told me in my interview with him where he was just I was basically just feeling it today.
Yeah.
Basically it was just one of those days where and sometimes you've got it. And today was one of those days for Namir Abdelaziz. Abdelaziz Namir? No,
Namir is his first name. He just wears it on his jersey.
He was 30 for 52 with 3 blocks and 5 aces.
That's absurd.
That was absurd, especially in that 4th set. He was putting it on. Van Garderen got an ace there too. They did 9 aces for the Netherlands in this one, and as bad as Cuba looked, the Netherlands looked completely different from the team that we saw yesterday. And it was funny, even talking to Mir, and it kind of alluded to these, maybe not too happy about the schedule, having to play at 4:30 yesterday and 11 a.m. today. Less than 24 hours, right? Less than 20 hours, basically.
Yeah, it's crazy. Italy had the same situation, really. It was, that part of it needs a look. And just we are on the record many times of saying that we work our athletes in this sport way too hard, and they need time off, they need a break, they need better scheduling, better like quote unquote quality of life. That's a bigger conversation. But the Netherlands, I mean, that team is public enemy number 1 in Cuba right now because they laid an egg against Serbia.
Yeah.
Cuba's number 1 competitor for the Olympic spot. The Netherlands lost to Serbia, gave Serbia those points, and then they responded to beat Cuba 3-1. So that I'm sure the Cuban fans do not like the color orange right about now. But honestly, that's the thing about Namir. Like, I was very critical last night of Namir's command of the team that he has and just how dominant his will and his personality are. But he's such a great player that sometimes you get 38.
Yeah.
And sometimes he can single-handedly win you a match, and players of that caliber can do that for you. And Cuba didn't have it. Miguel Lopez struggled. Cuba was down bad in the fourth. I actually give them a lot of credit. They came back down from 22-13 to at least make it interesting.
Yeah.
Got a little chippy. Some cards were handed out like that, but that was a frustration loss for Cuba.
Cards were handed out because volleyball is soft.
Volleyball is so
you look
soft.
through the net. You don't say a word. No threat. No chirps. Nothing. You get a yellow.
Ridiculous.
It's garbage.
Figure it out.
It's like it's so soft. Okay, this isn't a friggin' tea party. All right, if we're gonna have the green card for sportsmanship, sure, but at least let the boys scrap.
100%. And I think Cuba. This is a big emotional. What was that?
I just said let the boys scrap, and you said 100%.
Yeah.
No, I don't even want
Let
them
the
to
boys
fight.
scrap.
You know, just like going. What is that? Like Outlaw Volleyball 2 on the PlayStation
Let
2?
the boys scrap.
Where you could either choose to serve or fight.
Was that a thing?
Oh yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
I never played that.
And
That-
it was
that
like
sounds
it
electric.
was 2-on-2 beach, and all the guys were in speedos, and all the girls were in like anime style bikinis with like the smallest thing possible. Yeah, it was. Yeah,
cartoonish.
Talk about volleyball just being a joke.
Right. Cuba needs to respond emotionally because they have looked rattled for 2 matches by the fact that Robert Landy Simone hasn't been on the court.
Yeah.
There is a chance that Robert Landy will try to give it a go tomorrow against Italy. It doesn't get any easier for Cuba. How many points are they down now in the rankings?
They're down now. They're now -5 basically.
Not good. They started the week like +20.
Yeah. So that is they got -8 and -8.98 and then -9.66, while Serbia got a +909 for beating the Dutch the other night.
Yeah, Cuba started the week +18 on Serbia, and so they have this is difficult for them. They have a relatively new head coach. Remember Jesus Cruz Lopez, who's done an amazing job compared to the stoogery that was Vives.
Yes and no. There was like today, like I was sitting with Hyler, who's Cuban, and there was moments like especially in that third set when they were battling and they were getting he let them go. He let the Dutch go on like a 4 or 5 point run before he was calling timeout.
Got to call timeout.
He's really like, whereas Vives was just a complete stooge. Sometimes I'm wondering if Cruz Lopez is a mannequin. Because he just stands there, his arms crossed. He doesn't really say anything, doesn't give much encouragement, and never makes any adjustments.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, he made one today by taking out Lopez, but Lopez was absolutely terrible for Cuba. When you look at his numbers, he was 4 for 14 with a 0% efficiency. So they brought in Melgarejo in the third set. Even went back to Lopez, but still, there's no way that Miguel Lopez should be getting 4 points in a 4-setter.
No. Romeo Alonso wasn't great. He got benched for Jose Masso. Michael Sanchez was pretty good. 14 points on 42% efficiency.
Sanchez can't be your guy.
Exactly.
Sanchez can't be your guy if you're Cuba.
Exactly.
You need to have him as an outlet and as a there to but Yant needs to be better. I was really disappointed in just Yant's energy and his lack of desire to do anything. And then Lopez just seemed to be off, and Melgarejo, I don't know if he got necessarily a fair kick to the can, but he wasn't great either.
Somebody asked in the chat what changed in Cuba week 1 compared to week 2. It's not having Robert Landy Simone.
Yeah, it's just
That's
not
it.
having. Yeah.
It's literally it. And
but
it's not Robert Landy's production. It's his
presence.
It's his presence.
Yeah.
That they're missing right now.
It's everything else that he does. It's he's the coach.
Did Herrera just bail on the team because he's crazy? He is crazy, but no, he did not just bail on his team. He's training. He's working out an injury, but they do miss him.
They do.
They miss the big man.
They need a bit of a spark plug. and they don't have it right now.
Right.
In the past, that's been Herrera, that's been Robert Landy Simone, and right now they're struggling. But at the end of the day, Rob, this is a team that should be accustomed to playing without Robert Landy Simone.
Great
right?
point.
There was no Robert Landy Simone for last year's VNL. There was no Robert Landy Simone for last year's NORCECA Championships, right? Even before
Not even
that,
Olympic qualifier, I don't think.
No, he was there for the Olympic qualifiers.
Was he?
Yeah.
I don't remember that, but yeah, you're right. They should be accustomed to not having Robert Landy.
Right, and not to mention, like, why aren't we throwing Lopez on the right side at any point?
I kind of agree with
Like,
that.
why? Like, he came onto the world stage on the right side. Trust me, I know, because I posted an Instagram clip back in 2019 being like, well, now the world knows who Miguel Lopez is because he torched us at the NORCECA Championships.
I remember it well.
So it just seems to be like Cuba just keeps on bashing their head against the wall when maybe a slight adjustment would help them a little bit.
A little bit. And for Cuba, who, I mean, you and I have been on the record, we're rooting for Cuba to qualify for the Olympics because we want to see Robert Landy Simone accomplish that for his country. It does not get any easier for them. They have Italy first thing in the morning tomorrow, who in the second match of the day, Italy 3-donged my beloved United States in a match that I was really looking forward to because I posted on Instagram, and I still agree that it very well could be an Olympic semifinal or medal match preview, but it didn't really live up to it today. It was kind of like a sleepy, messy game.
I feel like the U.S. points 1 through 20 were competitive.
Yeah.
And they were back and forth.
We were real bad after point 20.
And then all of a sudden point 20 hit, and there was just hesitation.
Yeah.
With tipping and rolling and just errors, 10 unforced errors for the USA today, added by 5 blocks by the Italians. It just seemed like a sloppy day. And it was weird because in sets 1 and 2, they kind of they led the pace of play throughout the majority of the set, and then once it came to the end, Italy just kind of slipped in there. And they really finished strong, which is what they couldn't do last night against France.
Right.
Right. And then once you got into the third set, we saw almost the entirety of the bench come in at some point for the United States with Kyle Ensing and Mwangatutia, Jeschke. Mwangatutia kind of balled out a little bit there in the third too, and they pushed back, but then eventually Italy just came back. But to me, Rob, like I heard Spra was like, we need to go back and watch the tape. I don't think you need to watch any tape after a loss like that. I chalk it down to a team that didn't play week 1, who had a bit of a pushover match in match 1, and now they came up against one of the best teams in the world.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the games this week so far that we've seen, one team that night has been significantly better than the other.
Yep.
And that's it. Like, the U.S. was significantly better than Argentina on Tuesday. Italy was significantly better than the U.S. today. And like, we didn't our offense did not look good. I agree with the tentativity. Especially after point 20. I mean, Matt Anderson is the perfect example. 5 for 22 with 3 errors, just not even close to terminal enough. Way too conservative. Only 6 points. We did not have a guy in double digits.
Mm-mm.
It's real rare. So it was a weird game. I kind of agree with you. Like, that tape can kind of go in the trash, and we can move on and try and beat Canada on Saturday night.
No.
But I mean, we can and we will. We always do. I'm not worried about that.
No.
But yeah, I mean, TJ DeFalco was pretty bad. Negative efficiency. Kyle Ensing off the bench, negative efficiency.
21% efficiency as a team is terrible. 9% efficiency as well for Anderson.
Yeah, it's bad, dude. I don't really know what it was. And after point 20, we were not clutch. We did not make good, clean, detail-oriented volleyball plays, and our off-speed defense the whole game was really bad. Our
really
block coverage
bad,
and our off-speed defense were not good enough. And so, like, I'm not worried.
No.
This stuff will get fixed.
Yeah.
This is week 1 for the Olympians. This is match number 2 of their entire summer. They will put it together because they're a world-class team and they're an Olympic medal contender. But it did not look good today. That was a bummer. Whatever. We'll move on and try to beat Canada on Saturday. But Italy, I was kind of stunned that they rolled back the starters again less than 24 hours after losing a 5-setter to France, and it paid off for them because they played great, with the exception of Yuri Romano, who we will continue to talk about. But they kind of played classic Italy volleyball, where they bend the speed of the game completely to their will.
Yes.
Everything in that game happened on Italy's terms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Simone Gianelli took over and pushed it across the finish line in the third.
Especially with his serving,
Serving was terrific.
He was like a cat playing with his meal with the serving against USA.
Yeah, he chopped that one onto the sideline, the zone 1 sideline. Nobody was even close to it. Then he had that bump 31 to Russo that really was the nail in the coffin.
Bro, that was
sick.
That was filthy.
It was sick. Lavia was terrific. Great point in the chat. He looked awesome today. 39% efficiency, 15 points to lead all scorers. Micheletto wasn't even that unbelievable.
No.
He just hits such incredible shots in the right moments that it felt like he had a bigger impact than the stat sheet would suggest. Italy's high ball offense was amazing. Their ability to terminate sometimes, their ability to recycle, their ability to make good choices was terrific.
Yeah, I mean, Italy's a world-class team.
Yep.
And we just saw it. There is that one question, though, about the right side position. And when you're looking at the fact that your Romano, who started the sets 1 and 2, went 4 for 14, was a -7 in terms of efficiency, and then you have the young 18-year-old in Alessandro Bovalenta coming in 5 for 10 and a 20% efficiency. To me, for Italy to be a medal contender, they need someone to come in and be strong on the right side. They need someone to be in double digits scoring and to be in an efficiency around 35+%. Right? They need someone to come in and put in the pressure. I don't think Bovalenta is that guy yet.
Not yet.
But and so it needs to be Roma Yes. Roma Yes needs to show up, and he hasn't yet.
He hasn't yet. 2 bad matches in a row for Yuri Romano, but Italy still gets away with it because Italy's Italy. They're a terrific team.
There. Everything else, like the way Balasso passes and played defense. Lavia was fantastic today with 15 points.
I think he was the best player on the floor.
He served USA off. He caused a lot.
Him or Gianelli, either way.
So there was just that was a complete performance, more or less, from Italy and the United States. Just were not on their game today.
Nope. So it's like another match we have here where one team was way better than the other, and while there were great moments, of course, in every game that we watched, but it was never super in doubt, especially after we lost the second set, because like you said, after point 20, the United States was not good. We had no business losing either of those first 2 sets, but we definitely should not have lost both of them.
No,
that should not have happened.
No,
and I think we've all been on teams that have blown a set or 2, and then when you try and change some things up to try and fix it, it just completely falls flat, and you kind of get 3-donked. Yeah. That's okay. It happens. We'll be fine. We'll probably beat Canada on Saturday like we always do. But I wish that was a bit of a better showing from my guys, because that is the last time I will get to see them personally before the Olympics.
Sad. Ryan Lincoln in the chat, Storm Kiko in Discord says they currently have a Roma maybe. Rome maybe.
Rome maybe.
Rome maybe.
Well, he's been Roma no for 2 straight games.
Yeah, I don't even know if he's been Rome maybe. I think
he's not been Rome maybe. He's been Roma no. No.
Also, Hyler, make sure you share some of that with your friend.
I know what and whom we are talking about.
If you know, you know.
If you know,
yeah. Is that all we want to talk about for USA Italy?
It was.
Just on that note, I talked about it today in my interview with Gianelli. Italy has never medaled at the VNL.
You pulled that last night, and I was stunned.
They have never medaled at the VNL. The last medal they did at a yearly competition, aka the World League, was 2014 when they won bronze in Florence. Their last gold at the World League was 2000. So when our Italian fans in the chat say they don't give a shit about VNL, they really don't give a shit about VNL.
They really don't.
Now, so moving on to the third Norsica disappointment of the night. Argentina is once again Canada's kryptonite.
Argentina was awesome tonight.
Argentina was awesome tonight, and it was tough to watch. Argentina was awesome tonight, and we were not.
No,
we from the opening serve, from the opening play, it felt like we were playing catch up, right? Even in that second set that we ended up winning, we were like, it was just barely there for us. Argentina is such a tough team to play against, but they really we have a hard time passing against them.
We have a hard time applying service pressure.
We have a hard time applying service pressure onto them. They crush us in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
They absolutely destroy us. Like Lozère made it, and I made the mistake, I think, of making that the comparison of Finn McCarthy to Lozère. And right off of the first match, they were like they were like going toe to toe to each other, and I was like, oh no, Finn. Like maybe I was a little too early on that call for you.
Yeah, I could tell from I think it might have been the second point of the match when there was an extended rally where Nicolas Zerba, who looked awesome tonight, was moving pin to pin, got 2 block touches, and then stuff blocked a ball in the middle.
I think we need to talk about Zerba a little bit more because
he was awesome.
His addition, I've always said, like we've said the past few years, that M2 position is really that big question mark
since Soleil's retirement.
And now the fact that you have a big-bodied Zerba who still moves well, can still run the same-ish routes that Lozère does, that pairing of Lozère and Zerba, low-key, real deadly.
Real good.
Real deadly.
Yeah, so, and Zerba's a cool guy as well. We like him. So, yeah, he looked great. Augustin Lozère was unbelievable tonight. He was unbelievable. He had one of the gnarliest one-on-one commit clamp blocks.
On Denny Domenico there in the third or fourth?
Filthy.
Yeah, I have to admit it was.
Huge.
It hurt me in the soul.
One-on-one, straight commit, spread arms, straight down, like ball hit the floor before either player. Like, incredible.
He was 10 for 16 tonight with 3 blocks. That's pretty filthy.
Yep.
13 points out of the middle.
Yep. So yeah, I could tell that very, very early that Argentina was locked in tonight in a way that on Tuesday against the United States they were not.
That mental state that they were in tonight was nowhere
close. It was a completely different team.
It was back in Buenos Aires on Tuesday night.
Yeah, and I interviewed Luciano Polonsky after the game because he was great. I mean, he had 14?
14. He led them scoring.
To lead the
11
team
for 27.
Scoring, but they were balanced. I mean, they had 4 guys in double figures, 2 of whom were middles. And Bruno Lima wasn't even that good. Like, he got yanked for Kukartsev.
Yep.
But Polonsky told me that they had a meeting with their team, with basically a players-only meeting yesterday. A players-only meeting, especially from like a hockey perspective. That's like some desperation shit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I think what he told me is that they were feeling an amount of pressure related to qualifying for the Olympics and going to the Olympics and repeating their success from Tokyo when they won bronze. But they've now decided and are making a concerted effort to treat it like an opportunity instead of like pressure.
Oh, okay.
Like an opportunity instead of like an obligation almost.
Yeah.
And that mindset shift, I think, really played out on the court tonight. They looked completely locked in. DeCecco was in his bag.
I made some noises at some point, Rob, that you got me to respond, and that like he was in a zip type of night where his hands was just. I have some interesting stories to tell you that like so once again, me and Gavin Schmidt were just gabbing throughout like the last like set and a half up there, and like I grew up watching this dude play, so like. It was a good time to chat with him. All of course, but like just watching DeCecco, you know who he said DeCecco reminds him of, and I'm gonna say it, and I'm just gonna leave it. We're not gonna talk about it anymore because I know it's gonna piss people off. Drizga.
Oh no!
Moving forward, but yeah, DeCecco just has the ability to kind of just find his middles wherever he is, wherever. It doesn't matter if he's like bending down. It doesn't matter if he's falling back. It doesn't matter if he's off the net with his shoulders facing back to the baseline. He's able to find his middles. And I think that is his greatest strength. We were even talking about it back in the day when him and Robert Landy Simon played at Piacenza, and then they played at Lube together. And literally in transition, Robert Landy was just going for gaps. Like it wasn't even like we're running a 31, we're running a back. It was like, I'm going to find the gap and you're going to give it to me. Like that's the level that Luciano DeCecco works with.
It's an insane level of ability to set the middle, and then the complex routes that Lozère and to a lesser degree Zerba can run. It's a nightmare, and it all starts with their first contact.
Oh,
They passed the ball phenomenally well tonight. They killed Canada in the serve and pass battle. 2 aces to 19 errors for Canada. That's not good.
No, it was
5
terrible.
aces to 14 errors for Argentina. That's much better. 63% positive passing, 24% perfect.
They were not stressed at all.
They were not stressed in first contact. I thought Denani was awesome. Both Polonsky and Conte were great in reception. There was a ball that Jan Martinez came in and passed. Like it deflected off the tape, and he like threw kind of like a chicken wing at it with his elbow right on DeCecco's head. And I asked Hawk about that as we were waiting to get the interview, and he's like, "Yeah, I saw that. It passed the nail." We're like, you know what? Just not our night tonight.
No,
Argentina was locked in.
It was, and
Locked in Argentina is very scary.
The one thing that watching Canada play, it seems like we currently live or die by how well Stephen Marr is playing, and I don't think we need to be that team. You know, I think that there's other outlets to go for. And you know what? It's funny, just going back to Gavin, and we were talking about it, and he was like, you know, watching Marr and the things that he's able to do and the things that he's able to accomplish is incredible. But sometimes, like, you can tell that, like, because he's the leader of the team, he needs to be maybe a little bit more of a rock, right? And you can see when his frustration kind of goes up and down. He carries a lot of the emotions on the team.
He does.
On himself, and I think that's his desire to want to be a good leader. And maybe it goes a little bit overboard too much, where he's trying to take that on to a little bit too much and expecting like the highest of performance all that time. So that would be was one of those things that when it's not happening for Marr, he needs to get out of that quicker, but we need to go away from him quicker.
Yeah, that's the key. But the problem was that when Marr wasn't great tonight, and he even was chirping us. He's like, "Yeah, I got the bad one out of the way tonight, so he can beat the U.S. on Saturday," which would really piss me off. If he careered on Saturday night after like playing this match just now, I'd be pretty upset. Even though I love him, there's one match a year where I root against Stephen Marr. Canada didn't get the support from the right side position tonight either.
I mean, I would disagree with that. Like, Arthur Schwartz did lead us in scoring, was 13 for 25, wasn't terrible.
No, he definitely wasn't bad.
But I do I think he's at that point where he needs to take that next step. He needs to evolve and elevate a little bit, because we saw him have a fantastic season for Monza in the regular season and then start to wane off a little bit in the playoffs, and that's when we moved things around. They moved things around, had Lepke on the right side, you know, all these things. But right now is Schwartz's sophomore slump.
Yeah,
right.
Pretty much.
Where he came onto the season, like, he didn't really play as a right side in VNL last year. Ryan Sclater was our top scorer.
Correct.
Right, and then Schwartz comes in for NORCECA championships and Olympic qualifiers. No one has any tape on him.
Yeah, he was terrific.
Then he goes straight into a Monza season where for the first 3/4 of it he's fantastic. And then, you know, the reality is that Arthur Schwartz's game is pretty straightforward and basic. We've seen a little bit of evolving and adding, especially that fastball that they're running where he's able to hit cross, but Arthur Schwartz is a power line hitter.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he doesn't move the ball around
No.
very much at all. You're right. He's
an old school type volleyball prototype, and there's not many like him. Like, he would have fit in perfectly, I think, in the 2000s and 2010s. You know, with the Gavin Schmidts and the Sadaus and the Grosers and just the big bangers. But that's not really the game right now. So we're at a junction with him where I think it's you know, evolve or not necessarily die, but evolve or fall behind.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's a totally fair take. So all 3 games we saw today, NORCECA got 3-donged, and the better teams won. Like, the better teams today won all 3 games. There wasn't really all that much drama. There was certainly some highlights, but there just wasn't a whole lot of drama. So, yeah, back to the drawing board for Canada and the United States. Big revenge opportunity for both on Saturday night. I'm real bummed I'm going to be missing that one. Tomorrow is going to be a really interesting day because Cuba versus Italy is at 11 in the morning. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. Followed by, France, Netherlands is the second game. And the United States versus Serbia is the third game tomorrow night.
All right, fair enough. So we'll see. If Cuba comes out, if Italy comes out like they did today, Cuba has a chance. I don't think Italy was great, but Cuba needs to come out. Cuba's in desperate need for a win, and this needs to be Cuba's Olympics.
Yep, tomorrow is a massive game, and if they get Robert Landry Simone back, it would make a big difference. On the other side of the world last night, there were 3 matches that were pretty darn similar to the ones we saw today, where the better team won all 3. Brazil beat Iran 3-1, Germany beat Bulgaria 3-1, and Poland 3-donged Turkey very predictably. So we watched a little bit of Brazil last night.
A tidbit. When it looked like it was potentially going to go to a 5th, we were going to start the drunk stream. with the Brazil match, but then Brazil was able to clutch it out in a 3-set win. Allen led the way with 20 points. He was 15 for 30 and attacking with 4 blocks and an ace on the Iran side. 22 for 39 was Amin with a block and an ace as well for a match high of 24 points.
Yeah, our boy Kenny Diaper, who's in Japan at the game, was telling you that he was super impressed with Amin in person.
He was raving about Amin and his abilities.
I mean, a big physical dude. Iran just not complete enough to be as relevant as they used to be.
No.
Let's see. What did Poland do here? They got a hell of a match out of Bartosz Bednors. 19 points on 52% efficiency.
First before that, Germany beat Bulgaria 3-1.
Yeah, whatever.
20 points for Moritz Skarlicek. Did we see Grosjean? That's really all that I meant. That
he came in
off the bench and had 1 swing.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I'm with you. That's all I care about that one too. And then Poland beat Turkey. Obviously, like that was never going to be competitive. Yeah, 19-12, 19. Whatever.
With Poland's bench too.
Whatever.
Bench could start for anyone in the world.
Yeah, that pretty damn good bench with Kwas, Paremba, Firle, Kaczmarek, Bednors, and Semeniuk. What a gnarly bench that is.
That is just unfair.
That's gross.
Can you guys share the wealth, please?
That's gross.
Just a little bit.
I haven't really even watched that much of Poland this VNL because it doesn't matter. They're Poland.
No.
They're Poland.
Yeah. I only want to watch Poland when they play big teams, and they haven't really played big teams yet.
No, they haven't, but they're going to host the VNL final, and they're going to be a contender to win it again, and somebody's going to have to go into Łódź and beat them, and that's not going to be easy.
Starting maybe soon. I don't know what time it is.
I think it just started.
Bulgaria versus Iran.
Yeah.
And then it's at Bulgaria versus Iran just started. Brazil versus Slovenia, which I think like the other side of the world is actually going to get a little spicy today with Brazil versus Slovenia. Slovenia has been absolutely gangbusters. The only undefeated team left, and Brazil has been really good with their whole squad back. And then Japan versus Poland in Japan. It's volleyball world's wet dream.
Yeah, this is more like what we're talking about. This is where it's going to get interesting. Yeah. The teams have found their footing, figured themselves out a bit, figured each other out a bit, and hopefully we get some bangers the rest of the way.
Yeah, would hope so.
So I think the last thing to do for the night is to tell people like kind of what we're up to the rest of the week, because tomorrow I'll probably have to leave. It depends on the result of Netherlands versus France. If that's a 3-dong, I'll probably be able to catch all of it. But I do have to leave and head to the airport before the USA match. Like my flight's at 7.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So board's at 6:30. So we'll figure that out. So no post-game show, at least for me tomorrow. I think you will probably be busy doing some more like full-length interviews. Potentially.
There's some extracurriculars that are happening behind the scenes that people are going to be excited about once they come out.
Yes.
That are happening with unfortunately without you tomorrow. So I think it is going to be a game time decision.
Game time decision.
Yeah, well, we'll really have to see.
Game time decision for tomorrow. It'll be all Everett as I'm traveling home. But we will be back on Saturday night.
Yes.
After USA Canada, we will have a post-game show. Everett will be here courtside. I will not. I'll be watching from afar like everybody else. But we will still get on here and talk trash about whichever one of our countries wins that game. So there will still be a post-game show on Saturday. But then Sunday is kind of TBD as well.
Yeah, Sunday is also TBD. Well, It's a little bit different because Rob's ditching me this week, so we're going to have to figure it out as we go.
We will figure it
John
out.
John the Master is saying apparently Japan's going to play the bench against Poland. So, all right. All right. Anything else to talk about here, Rob?
We love you all.
Pavlovian response kicking in.
Oh, is it now? All right. Let's get out of here and go enjoy my last night in Ottawa.
I want to bet.
Same.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by enjoy.
That's good. I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yeah. All right. See y'all. We love you.
Peace.